So,
all right, cool.
The minute we find out, Greg's book goes on sale on Amazon. So it's not coming till the spring. I'm figuring somewhere in the fall, like Christmas time, you could probably get a pre-sale order or something like that. We'll let you know, and you guys can go on there and get your orders in. Now, Warner Brother Records, Dave, is got a new name and logo, if you can believe that. Warner Brothers Records, Van Halen's original label, has changed their name to Warner Records. Adopted a new logo for a more modern identity. They are moving to the Arts District of Los Angeles. Now, does Van Halen still belong with them? We don't know. Last album that they released, studio-wise, was on Interscope, but I think that was a one-album deal. And then you did some research on the live album. Isn't it some sort of subsidiary of Warner or something like that?
Oh, I forget now. Yeah, it was something. It was something like that. Wasn't it on Rhino?
Yeah, something like that. It was like sort of like, it wasn't exactly Rhino, but like sort of a branch of Rhino or something like that. But anyway, regardless, that's what's happening with Warner. Now, did you hear about the new Van Halen mashup, Dave? The Van Halen Beautiful Girls mashed up with Earth, Wind & Fire's Shining Star.
Yes, it was. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah,
it was done by the same guy who we talked about the last time, who had done a mashup. He's really, really good.
Yeah, he's excellent, man. He's excellent.
What's his name?
I don't know. I don't know. I forgot his name. My God, this guy could put out an album with all these remixes he's doing.
He should.
It's unbelievable. And let me tell you something. It's not shit. He's seriously mixing these things. They sound like something that's like a professional release. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not some
really,
sort of
really
patch job. So the horns mixed with the background harmonies from Van Halen. Oh, my God. It just sounds so great. Here's a clip right here.
Oh, giant stock coming to view. Shining bright for light on you. Oh, God, I'm running. Oh, yeah. Give you strength to carry on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, make your body big and strong. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I said. Here I am in no man of the world. Oh, all I need is a beautiful girl. Ah, yeah, beautiful girl. Oh, very superstitious. Wash your face and hang. I got no sweat the plans. Let me go the problems. Do all that you can. Understand.
So anyway, check that out on YouTube.
Bill McClintock.
Bill McClintock. All right, he's the man who did the mixing. You got it. Credit to Bill. Bill, put out an EP with these things, will you?
Right.
Dave, you remember when Steve Vai, Greg Bissonette, and Billy Sheehan, the Eat 'em and Smile Band, got together and they played at the Ultimate NAMM Night? We reported on this on our February episode. You remember this?
Yep.
Well, as we all know, Roth never showed up for that. He was unavailable. But good old Jeff Scott Soto, everybody's favorite replacement singer, came in and he played Shy Boy and Tie Your Mother Down, which is Queen's song, Tie Your Mother Down.
Right.
Back then we said, why the hell would he do that? Why wouldn't he play like Yankee Rose or something? Well, it was revealed that he didn't play Yankee Rose so they wouldn't piss off Roth, figuring that they didn't want to squander future opportunities for the Eat 'em and Smile Band to play again. But listen to this. In a recent interview, Jeff Scott Soto said that jam went so well that they got a record deal offer, which they didn't take, but they got one. He says, everybody is busy and everybody's doing their thing, and I don't expect it to happen anytime soon that we were going to go revisit it in any real way. But I think the guys are still trying to leave the door open for Dave in case that ever happens. But what do you make of that?
That would be awesome if those guys did an album.
Yeah, really would.
Some kind of awesome. And I just wish Dave would come around and just do a tour with those guys, for crying out loud.
I know, it really would be something. So now, speaking of Steve Vai, he recently did a guitar spotlight on Montgomery Gentry's song, King of the World. Now, we all know Montgomery Gentry is a country artist, and Steve Vai, as we all know, is a rock star. But Vai didn't care. He wanted to do a nice spot on there, and he said, it sounds great. It really does. And this is a clip of it right here. very vibe, but he does not get too crazy, and he invokes a lot of flavor into the track, and it's a pretty generic country song, but, Steve's playing was pretty organic, and the song is featured on Gentry's new album, Outskirts. So it sounds like Steve's getting a little itchy there too, Dave. He wants to get out there and play on some music, and Steve's due for an album himself. It's been a while since he put out something.
Well, come on, guys. Let's go.
Yeah. Speaking of releases, this is our last piece of news. We have a release coming out from Sons of Apollo. They are going to be doing a 3 CD plus DVD or Blu-ray set from the supergroup, and it is called Live with the Plovdiv Psychotic Symphony. I don't know. It's very hard to pronounce.
Here we go. It's going to take you an hour to plow through this.
Live with the Plovdiv Psychotic Symphony. It's coming out on August 30th, and it's going to feature a cover of Van Halen's And the Cradle Will Rock.
Oh,
yeah, so that's exciting. Yeah. So that wraps up Van Halen news.
And that's the way it is. Good night.
And we are on to our mailbag segment, followed by our full report on Van Halen Bash 2019, where Dave and I go behind the scenes with Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band. They do an acoustic tune for us, and we do an interview with the band. Then we have some special guests that join Dave and I on the mic prior to the show, and we get right into some highlights from the gig. And it's all coming up next. Take a listen.
In our band, there is constant back and forth, and at the same time, I think everybody's more than old enough now to really to respect what we've been allowed to do. If we've made a contribution, that's for you to decide. But we've been allowed to do this job for how many summers in a row? Yow. It's like we never got kicked out of summer camp. Usually you get too old like Menudo. We just kept coming back.
If you need a dose of VH, get a taste of the closest thing. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band, playing all the hits from the David Lee Roth era, first classic 6 albums, plus deep cuts, some of which have never been played live before by the band. They even throw in popular tracks from the Sammy Hagar era and solo hits. The most viewed Van Halen tribute band on YouTube, Romeo Delight, doing customized recreations of staging, instruments, and costumes from the classic Van Halen era. They even perform entire Van Halen albums in sequence. Romeo Delight plays theaters, casinos, summer indoor and outdoor festivals, and special events. They're also available for private parties. To contact them, call Bud Blanche at 215-704-5144. That's 215-704-5144. Or via email at sonicparade1@yahoo.com. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band.
Hey, this is Andy Alendorf from the Groove Kings and Guitar World Magazine, and you're listening to Dave and Dave Unchained.
Check out the new podcast, The Rock Quarry, your place to hear in-depth interviews with some of rock's most colorful characters, with your host, entertainment journalist David J. Criblay. The Rock Quarry is available for free on Spreaker and iTunes. You can check us out on Facebook at The Rock Quarry Podcast, on Twitter at Rock Quarry Pod, on Instagram at The Rock Quarry Podcast, or email us at therockquarrypodcast@gmail.com.
I never really considered myself basically a musician. Basically, I'm an entertainer. I'm song and dance man. There's a lot of storytelling to be told here. There's a lot of magic, a lot of imagery. I'm the one who makes the tiger go away for you, and I'm the one who brings him back out when you least expect it. That's a whole lot more than music. Not better than music, but other than music. Never approached my life as based around music. Edward is a musician. That's what he has based his life around.
Hey, Dave, you know what time it is.
Mailbag time again.
All right, he's back down home on the range with Dave and the mailbag song, and it is mailbag time again. And we have a nice batch of mailbag this month, and we have a first one comes right out the gate from Shannon the Dude, and boy is he pissed off. He says, nobody in my life will care but you guys. All I want to say is, what the hell, Sammy? This album sounds like half-finished songs and jams. Am I missing something here? Very disappointing. Shannon the Dude. Well, I'm sorry you didn't like the Hagar album. There's good stuff there if you're a Hagar fan. Solid rock tunes. There's some cool soulful tunes. But you gotta give it a chance, Shannon. Several listens and let it sink in. I have said that before, and I suggest you give it a couple more spins. If not, what do you want from me? That's what he made. What do you think, Dave?
Well, he's not the only one to say that.
Yeah.
And I definitely see where he's coming from, especially with the first two songs. I mean, one of them is called The Jam.
Right.
And so he does have a valid point. I mean, and we did say, Sam does take some shortcuts on this album. But I will say it's been a month later, and I'm still listening to it. I haven't put it on the shelf and said, all right, well, that was nice. Next.
Right.
I'm still giving it a listen. So I still find it's worthwhile, and I think it's one of his better albums, I dare say, or at least one of the albums I'm still listening to regularly and more often.
Absolutely.
I mean, so if you're looking for something really challenging, I mean, well, you shouldn't be listening to Sam to begin with, because that's not his wheelhouse.
Right.
It's just not. But I find with repeated listings, I like it more. I don't know if I would call it a guilty pleasure, because I don't feel guilty listening to it at all. But I would say, try and give it another chance, Shannon. But if it's not for you, hey, no problem. Maybe you'll hold out for that Van Halen album we're still all waiting for.
Absolutely. And letter number 2 comes from Stephen Halmerick. And he says, hey, Dave and Dave, thanks for keeping the Van Halen podcast going. No need to cut down on the length. They are great to listen to when I'm on long-haul flights, which is what you have to do pretty much to get anywhere from Sydney, Australia. Just a couple things. Firstly, I recently was in the U.S. and asked a friend who I thought was a best hard rock band of the 70s. He argued for AC/DC with Bon Scott on vocals, where I was arguing for Van Halen, of course, with Dave on vocals. I found it odd that the American was arguing in favor of the Australian band, while an Aussie was arguing for the U.S. band. But I think we can all agree they are both pretty amazing. Secondly, I've been listening to A Space Between a lot since its release in early May. And it's actually pretty good, and certainly gets better after you have listened to it a few times. The songs that were released ahead of the album actually sound better in the context of the whole album, which is interesting. While I find it a bit odd that Sammy saw the need to write an album that questions the state of capitalism, the distribution of money, and the economic future, at least that is what I think the album is about, given how very successful he's been as an entrepreneur, it is a worthy effort. I am sure the album won't go down in history as one of the greatest of all time, but it is very good and certainly better than any of the new music Van Halen has to put out in the last few years, which, of course, is nothing. Regards from Down Under, Stephen Halmerick. Well, Stephen Halmerick, meet Shannon the Dude. I think we're going to hook you guys up, and maybe Stephen can show you the light, Shannon. We do agree with you. I think that it certainly renders extra listenings. Sam put a lot of effort into this album. He's incredibly proud of it. I suggest everybody give it a spin. What do you say to Stephen, Dave?
Yeah, I agree with him. Like we just said, it gets better with repeated listenings. But I will say the best band of the 70s was Led Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's for sure. And we are on to letter number 3, and it is from Thomas Jones, and he says, hello, Dave and Dave, love the podcast. Question, would Eddie and Alex be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if the group had changed their name to Van Hagar when Sammy joined? Thomas Jones. I love it. Good question, straight to the point. And the answer is yes, of course. Simply for the first 6 Van Halen albums, hands down, no question. They would go in as Van Halen with David Lee Roth and Michael Anthony, and that's how it would happen. What do you think, Dave?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're implying that somehow they wouldn't get in because they were never with Sammy, I would have to say no way. No way at